we had a plan, and I really don't know how we're gonna say anything. I think I've been just like upstairs crying for, I don't know, since Crystal started speaking.
I'd like to say it's a great honor to be following some really fantastic women who are total powerhouses and inspirations. So thanks again to everyone.
There are so many strong women that have stood on the stage. I just feel really honored to be here. My name is Amara.
And I'm Robin.
Hi, Robin.
And Amara and I have both been involved in organizing this Power Shift and past Power Shifts that have happened in Canada.
I should also say that I just parachuted in from Toronto and I'm helping, but definitely, can we just, Robin's embarrassed and maybe she'll cry, but can we please give her a huge round of applause for making this happen?
And while you're thanking me, you might as well thank the other 70-some volunteers that helped pull this night together and have been working since January, and I cannot express how grateful I am to know so many amazing and dedicated people. It's incredible. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we want to say is around connection and the possibilities that we don't even realize exist in this room. Part of why I'm so honored to be here is because one of my most vivid first Power Shift memories involves 60 people from Halifax on a bus. And I'm going to let Robin tell the story because she's way more animated and I'm still shaking and I think I'm just going to cry.
Yeah. While I give Amara a hug, I want to tell you a story. It's from 2009. I was really lucky in 2009 to go to the first Power Shift that happened in Canada, and it was in Ottawa. And I was really lucky and I boarded a bus at 4:30 in the morning with 55 other slightly off their rocker people from Halifax, and we drove 16 hours all the way to Ottawa to go to Power Shift. And when we arrived, yeah, I know, and like big ups to people from Montreal who just took a bus here for the same thing. Like, I'm with you. I understand, and I promise it'll be worth it. So when we arrived, we all got off this bus. There's 50-some of us. We're a little stinky and a little confused. And we got dropped off at this building where Power Shift was supposed to be starting, and we were really late. So we sort of come in and we're like, oh, well, is this the right place? And I remember opening the door a little bit and like sticking my head in and just being like, is this Power Shift? And at the very end of the hallway was this table with someone sitting behind it, and the person goes, it's Halifax! And they were so excited. And then 6 months later I found out that person was Amara. It was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And anyway, when we walked in that door and Amara was so excited, and then we walked into the keynotes like this, there were a bunch of us and everyone stopped and was like, yeah, you made it. And it really struck me at that moment that Power Shift was way more than just a conference talking about climate change. It was an opportunity for people who want to make change to learn skills and build connections to do so. And I felt really lucky to be there then, and I feel really lucky to be here now.
Another thing that I want to touch on is standing up there, listening to the folks who've shared their stories so far. Something I've been struck by is how different this feels than Power Shift 2009. And Power Shift, I just want to give you like a little bit of a sense of what brought us here and the evolution of Power Shift in Canada. Power Shift 2009 took place at a time when, I mean, not everyone, definitely, but a lot of people thought that if only we lobbied the government and demanded change in policy instead of asked for change in policy, we would be able to get meaningful action on climate, and the Canadian government would go to the Copenhagen climate talks and represent us well. Those of you who know what happened in Copenhagen know that it shattered any remaining trust between the countries most responsible for causing the climate crisis and those most impacted by it. So Copenhagen was kind of like this cliff for the mainstream environmental movement. A lot of people were really burnt out. A lot of people totally lost hope. But one thing that became very clear was that we were looking for solutions in the wrong place. And actually more wisdom from the powerful Indigenous women who are here tonight. I was upstairs looking through my notes, trying to be like, how am I going to explain the shift in the environmental movement? And Suzanne was like, power to the people. That's all you need to say. Just tell them that the solutions aren't going to come from the top, they're going to come from the ground up, and that we can't find solutions in the systems that created the problem. So thank you for that wake-up call. Sometimes when you're in the weeds, you're like, how do I talk about all that? Anyway. So what we did when we were organizing Powershift 2012 was reorient ourselves to focus on climate justice and to focus on tackling the root causes of the climate crisis, the economic crisis. A lot of the political, social, and economic crises we're facing have the same cause. Anybody want to guess what it is? It starts with a C.
Capitalism.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, so yeah. Tackling systemic causes, taking leadership from the communities who are impacted by the crises. That was really what we were trying to do with Powershift 2012. And part of that was recognizing that we weren't going to be able to bring everyone to Ottawa, and that's not how change happens. So we reoriented ourselves regionally, and that's kind of where we are now.
Yeah, so since 2012, which was almost it was almost 2 years ago. Anyway, Powershift has moved into a more regional model so that we can focus on building those grassroots and frontline communities and build strength in those communities so that we can make change from the ground up. And so in last October, there was the first regional Powershift in British Columbia and Coast Salish territories, and I am so happy that today we are starting Powershift Atlantic here on the East Coast, building up our own grassroots and frontline communities and strength. So that is super exciting because I think we can build a lot of power out of this. And so going into this weekend, I want to call on everyone to really recognize what an opportunity this is. This is a very unique situation. Over this weekend, we're going to be having some conversations that I don't think have happened yet. We have a panel coming up. We're going to be talking about Energy East from a grassroots and frontlines perspective. I don't think that's happened yet. And that's huge. So there are some really huge opportunities we can take this weekend. And that is as a result of people in this room coming here because they want to take action and meet other people who also want to take action. So I want to encourage everyone to remember that over this weekend, as you are learning and growing, we're here because we want to build our understandings of the issues and start taking direction from frontline communities like never before. I'd really encourage everyone to recognize that this weekend will be a springboard for action on climate injustice, colonialism, capitalism, etc. It's going to be big. I really encourage everyone not to underestimate the things, the power of the things that you'll learn and the power of the friendships you'll make. And with my cheesy closing line, if you're lucky like me, 5 years from now, you'll still be organizing with a good friend that you meet at Powershift. So have a great weekend. Thanks everyone for being here.